Hi everyone, and welcome to day 14 in our Advent of REST adventure. We are building a web API in REST, and today the final day to talk about authentication. So over the past couple of days, we saw how to authenticate via GitHub app to get a code, then to exchange this code for an access token. And finally, we are going to see how we want to validate this access token to make sure that it has not been forged or it's like a valid token emitted from GitHub. So let's dive into the code. First, yesterday we talked a bit about refactoring, and we still have one unwrap here that we might want to remove. So let's remove this comment, and instead of using the unwrap, we can use the exact same method that we used yesterday to map the error. So what we can do is we can define the token to be the response.json. And this is returning a result. So once again, what we are going to do is to map the error. So what we can do is map the error. And as usual, what we can do is we can toString it. So this is returning now just the token or the error. Finally, we can do OK, that token is a result. Obviously, we need to add the question mark to transform this from a result to an auth token. And if there is an error, this will bubble up to this string error, and we will be able to catch this in the calling method. So no more unwrap. That's great. So now we have our token. Then we need to make sure that this token is valid, because obviously having a token is not enough. We need to make sure that this token has actually been emitted by GitHub. So let's go back to the auth interceptor. Remember, what we've done here is every time, let's go back to the main, just to be sure. Every time I'm going to hit /pizza, I just want to make sure that an interceptor will be triggered to make sure that a token will be there. So each time a request hits /pizza, we need to validate the token. So let's go back to the auth, and this method will actually take token as a parameter, and now we need to do some logic to check whether or not it's valid. So let's have a look at the documentation. To check whether or not a token is valid, what we can do is we can do a GET request to the api.github.com/user and passing the authorization as a header. So this is exactly what we are going to do. So first, we can retrieve the token from the bearer auth parameter. So this is the token, so it's a string. What we can do now is to do a GET request. So once again, we are going to use request.client.new. The request needs to be a GET, and the URL, let me check it. It's api.github/user. So let's paste it. We would need the token as an header. So it's going to be bearer authentication. The token is token. In the doc, it also specifies that we need a user agent for GitHub to be able to track the number of calls. So let's add it, user agent, and we can specify whatever value we want, maybe pizza API validate. That's fine. Finally, we need to send it. And since it's async, we need to await. Once again, we are going to use the unwrap. Could not find the token. Yeah, we are going to refactor that in a moment, but yeah, the idea is to fetch this endpoint with the token. We needed to specify a header. Finally, we send the request, and we should be able to receive a response here. Let's print the response now. response is response dot, let's say text for now, dot await, and once again we can unwrap just for the sake of the test. So let's go ahead and try to run it. So let's go to cargo run, compiling, it's running now. So what we can do is go back to this and sign in. We have our access token. That's great. So what we can do now is we can curl the localhost / pizza. This is the endpoint that we want to secure, and we can pass the token. So I'll paste it. It's still unauthorized. That's normal because every time I say I'm unauthorized for now. But let's have a look at the print. So cool. Response is login maxday. This is my GitHub username. So that's great. Now we have a token, and thanks to this token, thanks to this API, we can now authenticate our user. I know that now my name is maxday, and it seems to be a valid token. So great. What we can do now is to make sure that if the status code is 200 or if it's a success, we can allow the request to pass to /pizza and return the pizza. But if the status code is an error, or if there is no way that I could fetch this API, maybe I want to return that I'm not authorized. So let's go ahead and do that. So great. Now we can refactor a bit. We can remove this expect. This is very bad practice. So let's do that. Now our response is a result. So maybe we want to match it. So we can match results. And here, once again, we have two options. Either it's OK or if it's an error. So if it's OK, maybe what we want to do is to check whether or not the status code is 200 or if it's a success. If yes, it means that the token is valid. If no, it means that we are unauthenticated. So let's go to do that. It's going to be a response. And in match, I haven't talked about it yet, but what we can do is we can add a new condition. So let's say response dot status, so match result, match response. And we can say result, for instance, if results dot results dot status is a success. So if it's a success, then I can do, for instance, OK request. It means that if the result of this validation of the token is a success status code, we can just let the request pass, and it means that we are going to be authenticated. The token is valid. What we can do in all other cases, it means that whether or not the status code is invalid, or whether or not we failed to fetch this API. So let's do this. I miss an error here. And if there is an issue here, what we can do is we can return an error. This error will be maybe unauthorized with message could not validate the token and the request. We can remove everything and we should be fine here. This is a tuple, so we are missing some parameters. Tag should be good now. Requests. Oh yeah. Oop. Yeah, we're good to go now. So yeah, we match the response. If it's a success, we return the request because we're authenticated. In all other cases, so first, if the token is invalid, or if I cannot reach this API, we can return that we could not validate the token. So let's go ahead and compile this and run this. So I'm going to run it. Let's get a new token. So I'm going to sign in again. my token is this. So if I go back to this, and instead of the old token, I can paste my new token. This time I have a 200 status code, and this is a pizza endpoint. So this is great because now we have a full working authentication. If, of course, I type wrong token, my status code is 401, which means unauthorized, and could not validate the token. And of course, if I don't have any token, let me remove the authorization bearer token. So no header. This is also 400 unauthorized. So congrats. Now we have like a pretty clean code. Everything looks good. We have now the full authentication working. So we sign in, we get a code, we exchange a code against an access token, and we validate the access token. So congrats. This is the end of the authentication and authorization series. See you tomorrow for more. Have a good one.